Okay, now maybe you're surprised that this is actually eCognition. And what I'm doing here is I'm combining my hobby as an amateur photographer and my work. So I try to create somehow a rule set that creates these Startrails based on a time lapse that I shot. I'm going to show you two different set of photos that I took on different trips. How can you do it? You see the rule set on the right. I'm going to first introduce you a little bit on how to set up a project and what the idea was, and then some functionalities that I've used. Basically, what we need to do is we need to create one project with all photos. So they're gonna be, in this case, for this set of photos, 287. Those are actually black and white pictures that I exported. But those pictures do have 3 layers still. So first thing was thinking about how to create one project where it only loads one layer of one image and then loads the first layer of each 287 images. And what we have to do here is using the customized import. Once we have all the layers in the project, we're gonna actually create an array. And then we use layer arithmetics to simply add up the images and creating such a star trail image. Okay, let's have a look at a clear instance. So when you open eCognition, it looks like this. We are in the data management layout. And again, I'm simply going to drag and drop one of the images. So you see that even though they're black and white, they have 3 bands. That's just how it is. Drag and drop. Yeah. So that's one image and has 3 layers. And that's redundant information. So actually to create these star trails, we only need 1 layer for each image and not all 3. That's just going to speed up the processing. So what I want to do is I want to create a project with the first layer of all input images in one folder. Let's quickly have a look at the folder. So we have 2 folders. One is called Startrails Morocco. The other one is called Startrails Mauritius. Those are the countries where I took those pictures. And you see we have quite a lot of images. And let's try to get them into one project, the first layer of each JPEG that we have in this Startrails Morocco folder. So what we need to do is we have to use the customized import. This functionality lets you customize the import, so you can define the layers that you want to load, how to create a project, how to batch create projects based on a folder structure, right? It's very flexible and it really can do a lot. So import name, I'm gonna call it customized import Startrails. In the root folder, you define the folder where the data is located. So I navigate to the Startrails Morocco black and white folder, select it, and then you have to define a master file. So one file, I'm just going to take the first one in that directory, which is called layer 100. And actually what we have to do now is change the search string. In this case, it would create for each image it finds in that folder a project. But what we want to have is we want to have one project that holds all the information of these images in that folder. So first thing I'm going to change is I'm going to go to the image layers tab. And you see we have the 3 layers here, 1, 2, 3. We just need 1. So I'm simply going to remove layer 3 and 2, which means it only will load the first layer of each image. So we're going to change this any folders to scene, which means that the folder structure defines our scene name. And we're going to change the scene to layer. And we can test this. And actually, yeah, the scene name is the name of the folder, right? So it will create a project with the scene name, which is our folder name, Startrails Morocco. And then the layer is going to be all the layers that are within that folder. And it only will take the first layer of each image. Okay, I'm gonna save actually. So you can do that. You can load and save the search, the customized search as an XML file. I'm gonna provide you that as well. So I'm gonna save it into the data folder. and it's called customized import Startrails. So actually you simply can load it and it should work instantly, so you don't have to type in all the things that I've changed here. I will show you how to load this XML in a second project that we are creating afterwards. And if you leave the default path when you save such a customized import routine, you also gonna be able to use this as a predefined import. I'm also gonna show you that when we create the second project. Okay, I'm gonna hit OK, and then it should create one project with all the first layers of all input images. Here it is. Let's open it, double click. Ah, looks good. I'm gonna change to the rule set development layout, arrange the windows a bit, and right, so simply going through here, and you see the stars are moving, and that's due to the rotation of the Earth. What I want to have is the Startrails, right? So I want to combine somehow the bright pixels into one image. And the idea is actually to use layer Arithmetics, which is a raster calculator, and tell eCognition, okay, compare two images and create a new image that holds only the brightest pixels, right? And there's a function that you can use in the layer Arithmetics that exactly does that. And what we also need to do is go through the whole layer stack, so through all the layers that are within the project. My idea was to use an array, layer array that I feed with all the layers that are here in the project, and then I take the first item and compare it to the previous one and simply compare the pixel values and always keep the brightest pixels, and so it's gonna add up and only using the brightest pixels of the input images and going through the array, and the final image should be the combination of the brightest pixels of all layers. So it's not simply adding up the layers, so it's not layer 1 plus layer 2 plus layer 3, that would be more or less the sum of the input layers. What I want to have is a comparison, and it should only keep the brightest pixel, right? And then if it looks into each layer and keeps the brightest pixels, we're gonna have a Startrail image. So that was my idea. And I'm gonna start with layer 1, so I'm gonna want to create a nice movie that you saw at the beginning, which looks stunning, and the final output would be the Startrail image. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna show you the principal processes and algorithms that I'm gonna use, and then I'm gonna load the rule set that is finished. But first of all, the idea was to create a array. We have a algorithm called update array. Oops, update array. Simply gonna use that, and you can create an array. Let's call it layer array, something like that. And then you have the type, double string, class, image layer, thematic layers. You can create arrays based on all these inputs. I want to create an image layer array, so a list of all my input image layers. This would be empty. What I want to do is I want to add all the layers that we have in the project to this array, and I'm going to do that based on a feature, and the feature that I'm going to use is here under map features, image layers, number of image layers. No, let me all existing. Yeah, all right, so you have to go on, almost did a mistake here. Under project features, rule set, all existing image layers, and that's a list of all the existing image layers. Execute this, and then you created an array. You can have a look at your array here under process, for example, manage arrays. You see we have layer array, and that's the list. So the array holds now all the layers that we have in our project. In the next step, I wanted to create a empty raster image that I want to compare with the array items. So I simply used layer Arithmetics, and created an empty layer, well, a 0 value layer, called it Startrail. And now I want to loop through the array and always update this layer that I just created, the Startrail layer. That will be the output actually. So I'm first gonna create a loop. So I have to change the domain to array. And that will loop through my array. Then I choose my layer array. And it always takes first item and writes it into variable current layer. Okay, the current layer is not assigned. Okay, so it's gonna loop and it's taking the first item of the array and writes it into this variable, and now can use this variable inside this loop. And the idea was to use layer arithmetics and simply say, all right, compare the Startrail image and the current layer. So current layer, and this is actually the straight line thing, that is the OR comparison. So it will take the brightest pixel, it compares those two images that you insert here, and it's gonna write the brightest pixel into the output. And I'm gonna simply override the Startrail, and the output's gonna be Startrail. Should be the same name, huh? Startrail. Okay. And that's already it. All right? Okay. Let's simply run it and see if that is working. What you've seen at the beginning, I'm going to load the rule set in a second. I updated a few and you saw the process, and I also added information on top. I'm going to load the rule set in a second, and you're going to see how that works. So I ran it. I don't know where it is currently. It's going through all the layers. I'm going to cancel it. And okay, blah blah. But now at least the Startrail should be already there. And you see, first of all, what you see is that I'm a bad photographer. You see that there was some movement of the camera at the first or second image that I took. You should remove that, and then you're gonna get rid of this artifact. Yeah, but that's already it. So simply comparing two images and writing the highest pixel value into the output and updating the output. Let me quickly load the rule set that you're gonna have as well. Load rule set, Startrail rule set. So that's a bit more complex, but it's the same stuff. So I create an array. First I clear the array, and it's called in this case all input images. And then I'm gonna create the 0, like the output, which is called in this case Startrails with an S. Update a view so it's displayed, and then I'm creating the same loop and add the brighter pixels to the output image. Then I have this section here, update results panel and view. The results panel is a window that you actually can update with information, so you know where you are during processing. And that's simply I'm writing stuff into that window. You're gonna see that in a second. And I'm updating the view so it always updates when it executed the layer arithmetic, so it updated the output layer. And at the end, yeah, you actually can export the Startrails. You can, in the loop, export each step of the Startrail and then create a nice video, whatever you like. So let's run this nice rule set. And you see in this window up here, you see the progress, and that's actually what this section here does. It writes into the progress window which layer it actually just processed in this loop and how many layers there are in the project. And actually it's also gonna use the Startrail image that I computed previously. So I'm quickly gonna cancel it. Yes, I want to cancel. Yeah. I'm gonna delete the start trail. So I'm gonna delete all the images. Would not have been a big issue. I was just confused that it displayed 288 up here, but it should be 286. Yeah, something like that. So I'm gonna run it again. Right. And now you see how it's progressing in the rule set and how the output is developing, how the Startrails are developing. Pretty nice, I like it. You actually could improve the rule set. It's not perfect and it's fairly slow in this case because I'm using this update view. Without the update view, it would be a few times faster. I also just focused on the black and white to keep it simple. Next step would be to create a rule set for RGB. And you have to think about how to implement that in the rule set, how to deal with these data sets. Okay, now it's done. Enjoy your Startrail image. What I didn't do actually, or didn't add in the rule set, is the export. So I'm simply gonna export this image, choosing export image. And now you have to define which layer you want to export. In my case, it's the Startrails, right? Workspace output, yeah, that should work. I mean, I didn't save the workspace, so it's gonna create a results folder in the directory of the input images. Here we are, and that's the final image. Looking good. Okay, let's see and test if this rule set is transferable. And what I do to test it is I simply again choose customized import, and I'm gonna import a different set of images. It saves the previous customized import that you have defined here, so I don't have to change a lot. I have to change the root folder to the Startrails Mauritius. Select select the master file, and I think, yeah, okay, I have to remove these two layers again. Go back to the workspace, so that should work as well. We can keep this, and it should, when we test it, right, the C name is now the name of the folder, Startrails Mauritius black and white. Click OK, and that should create another project based on, okay, no, not gonna save it, nope. So I'm not gonna save it, I'm just gonna do a temporary thing here. Okay, now have a look at this one. Actually, before we look at this one, I quickly want to show you what I mentioned before, that if you save the customized import routine that you define in the default directory, when you hit the save button in that dialog, it's going to be available as a predefined import with even less interaction from the user. So I'm going to show you that quickly, and you only have to define actually the root folder, nothing else. So instead of choosing here the customized import, right-clicking into the workspace, you can choose the predefined import. Those are predefined import templates that are available, and you see that we also have the customized import Startrails. That's because I also saved it in this default directory, this app data, roaming, eCognition, and so on. And now we can choose this one. That's my customized import Startrails. And what you have to define here is the root folder. I'm gonna go for the Mauritius, and it's gonna be exactly the same result as using the customized import because it's using exactly the same XML file. Here we go, exactly the same. That's even more convenient. So if you have a folder structure for your project, you need to define, or you can define in the customized import once how to create those projects and how to set it up, how to name the aliases and so on, and then save it, and then you can use it as a predefined import. So it's just 2-3 clicks, and then it's going to create your projects automatically. But let's have a look at this one now. Looks cool. Okay. Okay, so let's somehow move a few windows to the right, check the rule set, and actually I simply can execute it. That should work perfectly. I'm quickly gonna put the progress window here, so you see it here in the screen. Move that to the left. Just improve your experience watching this video. Okay, I'm gonna execute the whole thing and let's see. In this case, you see also the clouds are moving, so of course they're gonna be added as well because they are fairly bright and it always adds the brightest pixel. Okay. So what you see in the center is actually the Milky Way. I'm quickly gonna display the input image again when we are done here. I'm gonna export that image as well, and yeah, you can print it out. You can test it on your time-lapse videos that you have. It doesn't have to be connected to stars, right? If you take a time-lapse of a road and you have cars driving by, it's also gonna, you can run this rule set and you're gonna see maybe it's gonna have an interesting effect, especially during night when the lights are on, the cars are moving. That could also be a very nice final image here running this rule set. Okay, so this one is done. Again, where's the Milky Way? I talked about the Milky Way. Ah, here. So that's the Milky Way here, this bright spot. And after running the rule set, it looks like this. Yeah, so that's it. A bit of an unusual video and an unusual data set. Maybe just to encourage you to think outside the box. In this case, I combined my hobby with work, which was fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Please try to improve the rule set, ask questions, try to extend it to RGB images. In this case, it was just black and white, and share it in the community and let's have a discussion about it, how to improve the rule set, and maybe you have questions on the tools that I'm using and the algorithm. So just let us know. Have a good day and goodbye.